Oh, I meant to move the... damn it.
What can I do?
Nothing. I meant to move the light and I didn't move it.
Oh, I like your hat.
This is my regular podcast hat now.
Ooh!
This is what I've worn since I got it.
I'm currently wearing a Mario t-shirt that I got for Christmas.
All right. This is done. That's good. This is... oh, God darn it. I just realized I have to hand you my phone.
You're going to have to do the Pokemon.
All right, I'll do the Pokemon. All right, I need this. That's good. All right. 3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast. Webisode 804. The Naganadel Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The Go Nintendo Podcast is a part of the Greenlit Podcast Network at greenlitpodcast.com. I will be handling the Pokemon today, and we will explain why in a second. Naganadel, I guess that's how you say it, stores hundreds of liters of poisonous liquid inside its body. It is one of the organisms known as UBs. It is 11 feet 10 inches tall. It is 330 pounds. Unknown gender. Category is Poison Pin. And abilities, Mom Brain?
It includes Wheel Watch.
Beast Boost.
Beast Boost!
The one that's been we've been saying for the last few weeks. Okay, so Mom Brain, I'll let you take the floor and discuss what's going on.
Oh, well, I mean, the shortest version is my school is open 5 days a week for students. And on Monday and Tuesday, I was unknowingly exposed as a close contact to COVID-19. So I am taking all the precautions that you're supposed to take. I mean, I always take all the precautions. I always wear my mask and stay 6 feet and blah, 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 blah. But I'm taking the precautions in the home to help hopefully prevent raw meat from catching it if I happen to come down with it. The important thing is I feel fantastic. I have not had any symptoms whatsoever. I'm going for a test, COVID test tomorrow. And, I'll keep being safe until then. But, I really think I'm perfectly fine. But we're just being extra cautious.
Mom Brain is masked up for just listeners. But if you're watching, you can see that. We are also 6 feet apart. We cannot touch each other. And we have also been saying 6 feet apart. And Mom Brain has been wearing the mask just in general at home. So she's doing everything she can. I think we're okay, but like she said, it's better to be safe than sorry. So I wanted to explain that, get that out of the way. Also, there's another important thing I want to talk about, but first I would like to say hello to Nintendo. Hello, Nintendo. How are you?
What up? I thought the important thing you were going to say is that I'm here.
Well, yes, that's the other important thing, of course. It's just Nintendo, myself, and Mom Brain this week. Nikki Hill is working. Do Michaels is camping. Kirby is at some family function. And the others are, come and go. But so it's just us three today. I also want to say, before people get upset, we are not doing music today because it's just me and Nintendo. So if you are only listening for music, you might as well tune out now.
Tune out now.
And that would basically be just Raw Meat answering because I will probably be no help.
Yeah, we figured it was just the two of us. But also, since Mom Brain's, we don't want, even though precautions are being taken, we don't want to dilly-dally, let's say, which will also make Nintendo happy because she's been saying the podcast is long. So
too long, don't like it.
I have gotten so much backlash from people saying stop complaining about the podcast being long. I will say I have not heard anyone tell me that the podcast is too long. It's just me complaining about it. But I worry. But I would imagine today will be a shorter show. But I said that last week and it didn't happen. So we'll see. Also, let me say hi to Josh before we get into the serious stuff. Hello, Josh. How are you, my friend? How's this weekend treating you?
A big hello to my fans.
There you go. Thank you, Josh. Always a pleasure. All right. I have something important. We have a few things to discuss before we get into news, but something important and serious. And I know this show has already been very serious, but I know our show isn't usually serious, but this is something important to me. So, if you didn't see the news, I'm sorry to tell you guys that Brian Cooper, who ran Japanese Nintendo, which was a website, blog, whatever you want to call it, that focused on Japanese Nintendo news, Brian Cooper passed away, and he passed away, I believe, late November, but we're only just finding out now. He maintained Japanese Nintendo for a number of years. That was his site. And he did his absolute best to cover everything that was from the Japanese side of Nintendo. And I would say I had a pretty good relationship with Brian because we talked to each other somewhat frequently, at least a couple times. I want to say a couple times every month or something like that, because we would talk about sources on articles and how to cover something. And he was always helpful with anything that was coming from Famitsu because he had access to that. And we would commiserate about running websites and blah, blah, blah. We would reach out to one another pretty often. And usually the conversations were, lighthearted and fun, and we were joking around, but sometimes there was serious stuff and not negative between the two of us, just, the trappings of working on the internet. So I definitely got to know him really well. And I noticed in late November that the website was Japanese Nintendo wasn't being updated, and I know he was scaling things back recently, so I figured I probably just got to jump on the holiday season. He was going to take a break for December, and then he'd be back. And then the weeks went on, and obviously we're into January now, and it still wasn't updated. And I was getting a little worried. And to be completely honest, I was going to reach out to him. And unfortunately, I didn't, and he's gone. So I don't know what he passed away from. I know he had health issues. I don't know if that's what happened here. All we know is he passed away. So this has been a rough week for a bazillion reasons. And even if you're just looking at the Nintendo side of things, some Nintendo-related people have passed away this week. But I just want to say the piece about Brian because I did talk to him, and I only knew him to be a very nice, friendly, wonderful, kind, caring person, and probably one of the people that I felt closest to just working on sites, because he was pretty much doing exactly what I do for GoNintendo. He was just focusing on Japanese stuff. So it was just somebody nice to really to talk to know where I was coming from. So I just wanted to say that piece, and I wanted to say that I'd like to dedicate this show to him in all of its stupidity and silliness and whatever else comes of the show. It's not gonna be a sullen show or anything like that. It's gonna be a regular show, but I just, I wanted to get that out there because I feel it's important. So rest in peace, Brian. If any more information comes out, I will be certain to share it with you guys. But that's all we know, unfortunately, that he's no longer with us. So Japanese Nintendo is still around. Obviously, it's not being updated. But if you want to go over and see what he spent an inordinate amount of time on, you can go over there and check that out. All right, that's the serious part. Sorry to be such a double downer in the beginning of the show, but we have some fun stuff to talk about, which I've been very looking forward to talking to with you, MomBrain, and you, Nintendo. This first thing is mostly Nintendo, but it's still very much you, MomBrain. Multiple podcast listeners, including Crazy Colonel, have made sure, because they are the best people in the world, they've made sure to let me know that Viennetta is coming back. Viennetta, which has been a topic on the podcast before, is coming back. It has not been in the United States for the last 30 years.
It's really been that long?
Yes. Wow. What's that, Nintendo?
That's into how old we are.
Yeah, right. But if you're a new podcast listener or you don't remember our conversation, Viennetta was a delightful ice cream and chocolate treat that was presented as like
so classy.
A very
the decadence.
A very classy dessert.
Served in like beautiful crystal dishes.
Yep. You know what I think of when I think of crystal dishes? Two things.
Fancy Feast?
Viennetta and Fancy Feast.
But do we know when exactly it's hitting the shelves? I went to Acme the other day specifically just to look for it. No luck.
Well, they said it's this month. It's rolling out this month, so
wow.
it'll be there. But
I'll just have to go there every day.
I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think Acme is a fine enough establishment. You're gonna have to go to a Wegmans or something like that to get a Viennetta.
You have not frequented my Acme. It's a wonderful place.
So Viennetta is back, and we have talked about it on the podcast, and it led to the creation of Viennetta Velveeta, the most disgusting stripper in the entire world, who is literally made out of Velveeta cheese and Viennetta, but I find her to be beautiful. And Crazy Colonel, who brought that creation to life, made sure to let me know that Viennetta is coming back. So I don't know. I'm Crazy Colonel. I never talk to Crazy Colonel about what to draw. Every once in a while I'll be like, there's something in this episode I think you're really going to like, but I won't be like, I want you to draw this. He has free range to draw whatever he wants, but I would imagine in some way, shape, or form, Viennetta Velveeta is gonna come back.
I'm gonna take credit for Viennetta coming back. I manifested it into being.
That is true. Mom Brain for what was it, Christmas Eve? Made a delicious feast. We usually have homemade pizza for New Year's Eve or for Christmas Eve, and we did this year. But Mom Brain had a very special surprise. She created. Does Nintendo know this? She created her own Viennetta.
Why wasn't I sent a freeze-dried slice?
Well, we can. There's still some in the freezer. We can take a picture. But yes, Mom Brain made a Viennetta. It was delectable.
I can't eat a picture here.
I'll make it again.
And just to be clear, Viennetta is literally just vanilla ice cream and chocolate, but it's like very thin layers of chocolate that crack throughout as you eat it.
Chocolate.
But
so how did it live up to expectations?
Well, I mean, it looked exactly like Viennetta, and I would say my memories of Viennetta are hazy as far as the actual taste. So I'd imagine Mom Brain's tastes better than actual Viennetta.
Less chemically.
But exactly. But it was delicious. But now we'll have the real deal to compare it to. So
yeah, we taste test.
There's gonna have to be a podcast Viennetta taste test.
Oh yes.
So
everyone gets their own. Everyone sits down with their own log of Viennetta.
I will say that Mom Brain's Viennetta log was much bigger than the average Viennetta.
The regular Viennetta, the size of a loaf pan, because that's what I made it in.
Let me say hello to Anastasia Beaverhausen and Malik Halo and Giant Reggie and Caramel Macaron. What a great name. Granimus and Hiley and Tom. Oh, and Nintendo in the chat. The Roddy Bear, Rock Yeah, Dre Gamer, Kurt Dog, Solid Master Link, Rat Mastered, Shillelagh, Ice Grove, Freddie Fro, Nate or Die, Joe is cool. Whoever else I didn't see in there.
Shout out to my bros.
That's right. Thanks, Josh. Shout out to my bros and brosettes, or I guess just bros, because bros, anybody can be a bro. But thanks for joining us. Nintendo, I see what you said in the chat about Viennetta.
Does it come out along? If you eat too much.
Vlog.
I don't think. Well, I mean, if you're bad with dairy, it doesn't come out as a log. But for most, all right. So I wanted to mention that just because it's part of the podcast history. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention before we get into news, Nintendo, you will be happy to hear and probably very surprised to hear that I watched The Queen's Gambit.
Wowie, whoa.
Did you watch it?
Of course.
Oh, scale 1 to 10.
10.
Mom Brain, you gave it a 9?
Yes.
I would give it 8.5, I think.
Number 8.
I just made that joke last night with somebody. Yes, I'd give it an 8.5. We were playing Fortnite, all the regular crew was, and we got into talking about what we're watching lately. And I had asked Grimbles from the podcast what he was watching, and him and Dew both recommended Queen's Gambit because they really liked it. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a watch because it's a limited series. So, it's just one season, quote unquote, and then done. So I was like, I could watch that. So I watched it this week, and it was excellent. Yes, Nintendo?
I was just going to say, I think that's what contributes to my putting it over the edge to a 10 is that it was very bingeable, which is something that I look for.
Well, they might do the old 13 Reasons Why and continue on without a book adaptation.
No.
I mean, I hope they don't, but it's been such a big hit for them that they are probably considering it.
I should send you a list of all of the things that I have been binging.
Well,
I did also start watching The Wilds.
How is it?
Wait, I thought that you were the one that brought that up to me, Rami.
I don't have any idea what The Wilds is.
It had to be you.
I honestly don't. Tell me about it.
So it's basically...
Oh, wait. Did I ask you if you watched it and you said no?
Yes.
And I was like, that was my dead end. I was like, well, that's that. I forgot all about it.
I watched it. It's basically the Lord of the Flies, but teen women.
Is it good?
And it was chef's kiss.
Oh, bene smoocha. Well,
but I wanted it. So the thing that makes it not a 10 is that there's going to be a second season, and I won't give it away, but I don't like the direction of it. I wanted it to be just like a one and done as well.
Yeah. I forgot I even mentioned that show to you. Maybe that'll be my next one to watch. What I wanted to say about the Queen's Gambit is all the actors are great. I think it's filmed great. It's a beautiful miniseries. I have a couple issues with some of the story in some points, but I can't discuss that without spoiling things, so I won't. But the one thing I will say about it is I feel like the show is very much a glorified version of you guys are going to laugh at me. It's a glorified version of like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that. There's like one player who's like the super best, and they fight some people along the way that challenge them, but not really. And then they have a big setback. And then they learn something new where it's like, oh my God, a whole new way of playing Pokemon.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, something like that. And then they gotta then they have like the big villain face off and all that. I was like, this is pretty much Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, but
so
about
that's why
chess.
you liked it.
I was just thinking about it because I was like, man, this has a lot in common with like very stereotypical anime as far as like just the story backbone goes. Obviously there's other stuff, there's more nuance in there with characters and motivations and stuff like that, but the core of it is very much that kind of stuff. And I was like, I wonder if anybody else has thought about it in that way, because again, I know it's more sophisticated than that stuff, but still there's connections.
Now Netflix will be like, we see you've watched the Queen's Gambit. How about Pokemon?
Yeah, right. I mean, all my recommendations now are basically based on what you watch, so it doesn't matter. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about. It gave me a little bit of a Death Note vibe too, a little bit, because the main character is just so like smart when it comes to chess, and she outplays so many people. I felt that was a little bit like light
joke. When I forget what episode I was watching where she kept like, kicking people's pawns off or whatever, and I turned to Mr. Nintendo and said, delete.
See?
Exactly what it reminded me of.
So you got the vibes too. Nintendo
Yes.
sent an amazing picture in the Discord right now with a picture of Queen's Gambit with her playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Did you make this, Nintendo, or is this already out there? This is amazing.
You're not alone.
He said, I did not make it, but it's amazing. See, I'm not the only one who thinks this. It's that same kind of thing. It's very much a glorified Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon. But I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's just they have a game they're playing, and there's intense battles, and you're hoping the quote-unquote hero pulls through. But that's great, man. That's great. So yeah, I watched that and I really liked it. I just had to talk about it on a podcast because I was like, the people need to hear that. Somebody might hear that and be like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot. But yes, it's very good. That what's her face is a great actress.
Anya, is that her name?
I got no old redhead. That's the one from
Anya Taylor-Joy.
She's the one from the M. Night Shyamalan movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Watch that show. But yeah, now I got what anime is The Wilds like, Nintendo?
It's like the one I really liked where I don't want to spoil it, where they're all in high school.
I mean, that's
not very specific.
That's every anime.
They're all in high school and they have to learn something to get out of high school. Does that help you?
They're all.
They have to learn a life lesson. There's a band. Gidemo, Girls Dead Monster, isn't it?
What? Why do I? Hello, Mom. Thanks for joining us. I don't know. Why do I not know what you're talking about?
Hold on. I'm gonna.
High school anime band.
Angel Beats.
Oh my God, I forgot all about Angel Beats. Yeah.
But it reminds me of Angel Beats.
Well, that's it. We could make a whole website that's just about Netflix
because
shows.
They all have to learn something about themselves while they're out stranded on the island. It's very similar.
That's great. Mom, since you're listening, let us know in the chat, did you watch the Queen's Gambit? All right, Mom Brain, can you hit me with that news jingle, please? We got some.
I just put lotion on my dry old hands. Yeah.
We got news cover. I'm sorry.
I'm getting there.
Creamy.
There. Thank you, Mom Brain.
My pleasure.
So this week, people were on the 3DS eShop, and I know the 3DS is kind of a dead platform as far as new content goes, but there's a wealth of old stuff on there, including games from a previous generation. You can go on the 3DS eShop and download some DSiware games. And people noticed that Nintendo removed hundreds upon hundreds of DSiware titles this week, and they didn't give any explanation as to why it happened, and there was no advance notice that it was going to happen, so the games were just gone out of nowhere. Hundreds. And people were upset. Obviously, if you already purchased those games, you can still go on to DSiware or the 3DS eShop and download those DSiware titles again. But if Nintendo gave a heads up and was like, hey, we're removing these DSiware titles later this week, some people would have fired up their 3DS to purchase the games for the first time, just so they didn't miss out on them. But then they were yanked and people didn't have that opportunity. That's how things started off this week. But thankfully, things got better. A couple days later in the week, a handful of titles made their way back to the 3DS eShop. Well, some of the DSiWare titles that were removed were added back.
I'm a hardcore gamer.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure there's plenty of games you played on DSiWare, Josh, of course.
Hell yeah.
But not all of them. It was I don't know, it's 10 or 15 of them out of hundreds made it back. But then today we found out that almost all of them have returned. I think there's 5 or 6 that haven't made their way back yet. And it's blackjack and stuff, card games and stuff like that. Not saying that they're not worthy of being on the 3DS eShop, but it's not you can get card games on a million other platforms. I believe people were more upset about the original content, but almost all of it has returned, and we still don't know why it was removed. So if there was something in the list of hundreds of titles that you wanted, chances are it has returned, and you better scoop it up now, because who the hell knows when Nintendo is going to yank these again. We don't know if like I said, we don't know anything. We don't know if it was a mistake altogether. We don't know if it's something Nintendo's going to do, but something happened and they did it prematurely. I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe there's some security issue and they were going in there and taking things out to handle that issue and then putting them back, and they didn't want to make a public comment about it. Who the hell knows? But thankfully, they have returned. So you can go back on there and get some DSiWare. The Pandalorian, no, that's in response to somebody. Number 224 says, this really angers me. If this is the case and Nintendo gave no warning. Well, it was the case and they didn't give any warning, but thankfully, it's been rectified now, almost entirely. A whole bunch of industry analysts are talking about 2021, and they're talking about what they expect to see from the big players, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and they're also talking about what they think is going to be the best-selling platform of the new year. And all three analysts in this article agree that it's going to be the Switch, even with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S out there. They believe the Switch is still going to be the number one selling platform of 2021. NPD's Matt Piscatella says, despite the launch of the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, it will be the Nintendo Switch that ends up selling the most units of console hardware in 2021. I will go a step further and suggest that this will be driven by content and promotional efforts rather than the release of a new iterative model. So, as you know, there have been rumors for years now of Nintendo doing a Switch Pro. That's not an official name, just what fans are calling it, which is a new Switch with some beefed up specs, so better resolution, a better screen, stuff like that, and maybe something along the lines of what you saw with the DSi, where there was some games that had DSi enhanced features, but you could still play those games on the DS just without those extra features. So that's the rumblings anyway. We don't know if the thing really exists, when it's going to come out, what it's going to include, any of that. But the rumor has persisted for a long time, and it's not just coming from a whole bunch of people on forums. It's coming from people very close to the game industry and stuff like that. So is 2021 going to be the year of the Switch Pro? We don't know. Dr. Serkin Toto, which is someone we hear from a lot, he says in 2021, Switch Pro launches. Yes, I know. I predict a beefed up 4K device is coming during Nintendo's next financial year. And let it be said, Switch is just a word. Everybody expecting the Switch to run out of steam in 2021 is in for bitter disappointment. The Switch will be the best-selling console this year as well. Driven by more first-party games, a hardware refresh, and a device having developed into a lifestyle product for the mass market over the course of 2020. Yes, there are plenty of people who say, well, with Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 out there, Nintendo is going to be hit hard because their system's going to look more antiquated. And there's going to be bigger games coming out for the other systems. But, we've been down this road before with the Wii. It certainly wasn't the case with the Wii, and it could be the exact same situation with the Switch as well. And with the Switch doing so well this year, with the Switch doing so well since it launched and only getting bigger, there's no reason why 2021 would be an insane drop-off for the system. I would imagine another 18 million to 20 million units in there somewhere, and first-party titles that we don't even know are coming out this year. Obviously, there's speculation about Breath of the Wild 2 coming out this year because we're coming up on a Zelda anniversary. We don't know when Bayonetta 3 is coming out, but this year certainly seems like the year it's going to happen, just based on how long the game's been in development. Who the hell knows what's up with Metroid Prime 4? And then, like I said, there's games for Switch from Nintendo that we don't even know exist yet, but will come out this year. And then there's another analyst, Piers Harding Rolls, who was talking about how he also thinks Switch is going to be the system to sell the best in 2021. And he also believes that a hardware refresh is coming. So the year's just getting started. We will see. But obviously, Switch ended 2020 on a very high note and had a ton of momentum. And it's likely we will see the same going into 2021. The Pandalorian says, if the analysts think a Switch Pro is coming, then it's not coming. They really don't make educated predictions. They, like fans, make wish lists. At least they all seem to agree the Switch will continue to be the top seller in 2021. It'll do that without a hardware revision. Yeah, I would imagine that would be the case. I'd also imagine that PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are going to have limited supply issues for a good portion of the year, maybe not the entire year, but a good portion of the year. Obviously, those systems are both very hard to find right now. And there's not much in the way of software that is exclusive to those platforms to push those sitting on the fence to buy the system this year. Maybe once PS5 gets Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, that'll change. I'm sure people will buy a PS5 for those games, but we know that Horizon Forbidden West is also going to the PS4, and now we're hearing rumors that Ragnarok is going to the PS4 as well. So if that is the case, I would imagine some people will say, oh, rather than spending $550 or $570 to play one new game, I'll just spend the $60 and get the PS4 version. So. And then with Xbox, who the hell knows? We got Halo coming out, Halo Infinity coming out sometime this year, and obviously it was supposed to be out for Xbox Series X launch, but got majorly pushed back because the backlash for that game's gameplay reveal was so strong that all parties involved were like, well, this game needs a little bit more time in development. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if Halo has the selling power that it used to. Halo certainly will still sell millions upon millions of copies, but Halo's been kind of dying down a bit. I don't know if it can come back. I don't know. I don't know if it could reach the heights that it once reached. We'll find out, because obviously PlayStation is the more popular between the two, Xbox and PlayStation. Sony really did a good job with the PS4 and wooed a lot of people in that direction. And the Xbox One didn't really, I don't want to say it sold poorly, but it certainly didn't sell anywhere near its predecessor. And yes.
You heard my...
Yes.
I was going to ask, have you seen the TikToks where girl gamers are playing some first-person shooter game and encountering all the crazy whatever?
I have, unfortunately, and it's...
Well, I was wondering if that... What are they playing? Are they playing Halo or something else?
No, they're not. They're not playing Halo. Usually, when you see those videos, they're playing like Overwatch or Valorant.
Overwatch, that's it.
But really, truth be told, it's any game that a girl plays. I mean, to tell you the truth even further, online play is terrible if you're not with friends because everybody's just an asshole. But yes, if anybody hears that a girl is talking, they get extra riled up and say extra terrible stuff. I've seen a lot of those TikToks with girls playing, and just the stuff that's said is unbelievable.
But the silver lining is they always end up killing them all. So that's good.
in the game. That's why you need to come play Fortnite with us, Nintendo. It's just friends talking.
I know.
But anyway, yes, we'll see what happens with PS5 and Xbox Series X in 2021. But it seems like the Switch will be the system to sell the most once again. We had a bit of... Did I read the... Yeah, I did. We had a bit of very big news this week. It's not exactly surprising, but it's very cool to see. Nintendo has acquired another developer, and it's a developer they've worked with for decades now. They have acquired Next Level Games. You might know Next Level Games' most recent work, which is Luigi's Mansion 3. They also did Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. They did the Mario Strikers series. So they did I always forget what it is. Super Mario Strikers and Mario Strikers Charged. They did those games. Also, famously, in my mind, they were working on a volleyball/pro wrestling Mario game, and that one got canned, and I'll always be upset about that. But yes, they worked together a lot on with Next Level Games, and Next Level Games was making a move to something about their shares and putting them up for sale or whatever. So it was a potential that Nintendo, if they wanted to work with Next Level, would have to handle that with another company as well. So rather than doing that and try and look for another company that has managed, or another company that can best put together Nintendo's philosophies when designing a game, they swooped in and spent the money, and now Next Level Games is an official part of Nintendo. So that's really awesome. I think most fans will agree that Next Level Games has done some fantastic stuff, and they've only gotten better. I mean, I don't think they have a bad game in their library. Certainly some are better than others, but it's really cool to know that they're part of Nintendo now. So that's a whole big I don't know how many people are part of Next Level Games, but it's a whole big team that is going to be at Nintendo's disposal now, whereas they had a working relationship before. JD says, oh snap, they actually did it. It's about time indeed. Next Level Games has been putting out a lot of quality titles featuring Nintendo's IPs. It was always easy to assume that they were an actual Nintendo developer. Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's what everybody saw them as, because that's what they were doing. They were working on Nintendo games and working directly with Nintendo. But now they are officially part of Nintendo. So congratulations to Next Level Games. It's really cool to see. We don't need to do that. We have the nominees. You know what I was thinking? We need something on the soundboard that is like some sort of like music you hear at like the Oscars or the Emmys or something,
I mean, we can't count.
No, that's sorry. I really thought you were going to do Baby Lock Them Doors.
Oh, no. I'm saving that one.
Oh, of course. There we go. Yes, we have the nominees for the 10th annual New York Game Awards, which will be hosted by none other than Reggie Fils-Aimé, the retired Nintendo person. The creator of the Bigfoot pizza, I should say. So we have Wait, what's going on in the chat?
Your sister
Oh.
found WWE ice cream.
Man, there's a whole different
Vincent
conversation
texted
going on
to
in
you
there.
yesterday.
They're delicious.
They are really good, yeah. The taste of John Cena.
Something you've been thinking about for years now, Nintendo.
John
And obviously he tastes like ice cream. So.
John Crema.
Ew.
All right, we got the whatever I said, the nominees for the 10th annual New York Game Awards. Let's see. I will read you some of the categories that have Nintendo titles nominated. There is the Big Apple Award for Best Game of the Year. The nominees are Animal Crossing: New Horizons, The Last of Us Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Doom Eternal, Yakuza, Like a Dragon, and Hades. Oh, very
That's
nice.
as awards show as I can get for you.
Central Park Children's Zoo Award for Best Kids Game. Dreams, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Moving Out, Good Job, Drake Hollow, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Astro's Playroom. We'll skip that. The Off-Broadway Award for Best Indie Game. Nominees are Ori and the Will of the Wisps, The Longing, Patience, Hades, Fall Guys, Spiritfarer. There you go, Mom Brain.
Yeah.
And Umurangi Generation.
I'm sorry, what?
Umurangi Generation.
That sounds so fun to say.
Umurangi.
Right?
Umurangi.
What a fun word.
There's the Tin Pan Alley Award for Best Music in a Game. Nominees are Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last of Us Part 2, Teenage Blob, Hades, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Fuser, and Ghost of Tsushima. And so on and so on and so on. The awards themselves take place, I would love to tell you when. January 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, New Jersey time 8, as we say here. Pre-show starts at 7:30. You can watch it on Twitch for free. So you can watch Reggie.
Get connected for free.
You can watch it for free on Twitch and watch Reggie present all these awards and blah, 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 blah. First comment comes from very appropriate Giant Reggie. Giant Reggie says,
Ooh.
I read on the do. What?
My body is ready.
Oh, I get it. He says, I read on the Dougal, as in Google, but
Yeah.
for do. I read on the Dougal a rumor that Reggie will be revealing the return of the Bigfoot pizza as part of this. It's the perfect time to do so, with so many hungry gamers quarantined at home. Seriously, though, I like watching the Game Awards, so having a similar event hosted by our beloved former Nintendo execs should be pretty cool. My calendar is already marked for January 26th. I have always reported on these awards, but I've never actually watched them. But I think I will watch them this year. It'll be fun. Moving on. If you watch Netflix,
And who doesn't?
as we've said here, we've all watched The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, will you look at that cat? So beautiful with freckles on its nose.
Wow, that is a beautiful cat.
Majestic.
Hello, Wolfric Chaser. Hello, Roth. That is a gorgeous cat. Wow. Thank you,
That's
Highly Unlikely.
Afternoobs' cat.
Anyway, if you watch Netflix, which you probably do, and you watch it on the Wii U or the 3DS, your time is coming to an end. The apps. Nintendo has announced that the Netflix app has been yanked from both the 3DS and the Wii U eShop, so you can no longer download the app. If you're a newcomer, if you've already downloaded it, you can still re-download it, but it's really not going to matter because June 30th, 2021 is the last day that the app will be active. After that, you will have to find another platform to watch Netflix on. And as many know, Netflix is not available on the Switch. The Switch does not have many streaming service options. It has Hulu. It has YouTube. It has Funimation. There's some comic apps on there. I think that might be it. So people are like, boy, it sure would be nice if Netflix was being removed from Wii U and 3DS, but it came to the Switch before June 30th. Yes, that would be nice and would make a lot of sense. Is it going to happen? I have no idea. But I'm also thinking that pretty much everybody has at least some other platform they can watch Netflix on in their house. Now, it may not be as handy. Like if you're watching Netflix on the Wii U. Can you? I don't even remember. Can you watch it on the gamepad? It seems like you might have been able to do that.
I feel like I remember thinking like how cool that would be to be able to have it like with you.
Well, let's just go with the 3DS then. Let's say you were watching Netflix on a 3DS, which had to be a horrible experience. But if you were watching Netflix on a 3DS and you're still doing that now, I would imagine you don't have like a phone, a smartphone, or a tablet that you can watch it on, because I can't see why you would pick watching Netflix on a 3DS over a mobile device. So if you do watch it on 3DS now and it goes away, then you're probably going to be pretty upset about it, because you most likely don't have another place to watch Netflix. You can go the lube route and get some knockoff brand Android tablet to watch it on. I guess that should be cheap.
So I happen to have a Kindle Fire tablet, and that thing is awful. Like I got it for free, so I'm not like, whatever. It's not like it's any big deal that it sucks, but it's like, it's brand new. And it just, maybe just because it doesn't have a lot of memory or whatever.
Oh, the one you're saying you got now is sucky?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, my original one was great. The original one I had was fantastic. I used that thing forever.
The one you have now is bad for watching Netflix or streaming services?
It's just bad for everything. Like it's slow and choppy and like nothing's intuitive.
I didn't know you were having trouble with it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So yes, be prepared, people. If you're watching on either of those services, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. JD says, meh. Netflix is the new DVD player. There's countless ways of accessing it without a game console. Heck, my TV came with with Netflix installed, with a Netflix button on the remote. Yeah, there's a million different ways to watch Netflix now, and other streaming services too. So hopefully this won't put you out too much. But yeah, you can't expect Netflix to support these legacy platforms forever. I mean, it's not surprising to see the Wii U version disappear, and even less so when it comes to the 3DS. I can't believe it's been supported this long, but you're going to have to find another way to watch. I'm sorry. Moving on. A story from 2 decades ago came to light. It was published in a book that didn't get much attention. At least a quote from the book didn't get much attention, but now people have dug it up, and it's quite interesting, actually. Everybody that follows Nintendo right now knows that Nintendo and Microsoft are all buddy-buddy, and their relationship has only been getting stronger with each passing year. The two started to like dabble with working together a few years back, and they did a couple things here and there, but now Microsoft puts out games on Switch somewhat frequently, and Microsoft has Banjo and Kazooie and a whole bunch of Minecraft representation and Smash Brothers, and Xbox Live is on Switch and a whole bunch of stuff. Microsoft and Nintendo are working very closely together, and they have both gone out of their way to say that they have a very good relationship. But it seems that Microsoft wanted an even better relationship with Nintendo many, many years ago, because Microsoft wanted to acquire Nintendo. They wanted to scoop up Nintendo and have them as an exclusive second party. And they actually, Microsoft executives actually flew out to Nintendo's headquarters to talk to them about it. Microsoft's former director of third-party relations talked about the meeting between the two companies. His name is Kevin Bacchus. And he says it was quite humiliating. Quote, Steve Ballmer, former Microsoft CEO, made us go meet with Nintendo to see if they would consider being acquired. Nintendo just laughed their asses off. Like, imagine an hour of somebody just laughing at you. That was kind of how the meeting went. Talks about it. This is Bob McBreen, who also used to work at Microsoft. He says, we actually had Nintendo in our building in January 2000 to work through the details of a joint venture where we gave them all the technical specs of the Xbox. The pitch was their hardware stunk, and compared to Sony PlayStation, it did. So, sorry. So the idea was, listen, you're much better at the game portions of it with Mario and all that stuff. Why don't you let us take care of the hardware? But it didn't work. I love the quote. The pitch was Nintendo's hardware stunk, and compared to Sony PlayStation, it did. Well, obviously, I don't like that Nintendo laughed in their faces, but anybody who's a Nintendo fan knows that Nintendo constantly says the marriage of their hardware and their software is very important to them, and it helps elevate what they do because they have that synergy between the two. And that's why it took Nintendo so long to come out on put software on mobile devices, because Nintendo really likes working on their own hardware and being, knowing every little aspect and nuance and detail that goes into the hardware, and then create games based off all of that. They have more, even if they give everybody access to the knowledge that they have, Nintendo still has a more intimate relationship with the hardware because they created it. So it just seems funny to me that it seems like Microsoft really wanted Nintendo's games, but they didn't know enough to understand how important Nintendo's hardware is to Nintendo. And obviously things are working out for Nintendo because they're still around. And Microsoft's hardware has fallen off a bit. As I'm not talking tech specs or anything like that, but just in popularity. The Xbox 3...
Tech decks?
Not tech decks. The Xbox 360 was a very popular platform, but then between Xbox One and PS4, the PS4, I don't want to sound like a fanboy or make people upset, but the PS4, for all intents and purposes, trounced it. The PS4 sold a lot more than the Xbox One. So much so that Microsoft doesn't even report hardware sales anymore. Estimates of the Xbox One's total sales are somewhere in between lowballing 30 million, high 50 million, somewhere in there. That's obviously a wide range, but still, to put that in perspective, I believe the PS4 is over 100 million or just at 100 million right now, and the Switch is very close to 70 million. And the Switch did that in 3+ years. So that goes Xbox Series X or Xbox One has been around for 7+ years. That just goes to show the gap there. So, yes, it all worked out for the better because now Microsoft and Nintendo are buddy, and we get to see things on Nintendo platforms that we wouldn't otherwise if the two weren't working together and had a great working relationship together. And most of the people who were around in Xbox at that time are not there anymore. Obviously, some of the people that were at Nintendo are still at Nintendo, but like the bigwigs and the figureheads at Xbox have either shuffled into new positions or moved on to other companies or retired. And the team that they're working with now is by and large very different. And I think that's helped pave the way for the great relationship the two have now. First comment comes from Akmaguins, and he says, the way I see it, I hope they were talking about PS1 versus N64 when talking about Nintendo's hardware stinking, because the GameCube was more powerful, smaller, and less expensive than the PS2. Anyway, classic case of American executives not doing their homework before negotiating with people from other cultures. Yeah, I mean, man, that's a great comment. That it is the top-rated comment on that story, and I totally agree with that. Yeah, if the conversation was N64 to PS1, I get it. But if it was GameCube, Xbox, PS2, then I would disagree. Yeah, I'm right with you, Akmaguins. Great comment. And yeah, just the culture-wise and Microsoft not doing their homework. I agree with every single thing. I don't know that I've ever agreed with a comment more. All right, Mom Brain, Josh, can you introduce our podcast partners? And we'll be back in less than a minute.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Ray, and this is my friend Alex.
Hi.
And we do a show called No More Whoppers.
Some call it corn, we call it therapy.
We're adults with the virility of men.
Want to hear us read snack food copy and talk about Japanese chips? Too bad!
Join us every month or so on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Retrograde Amnesia is a comprehensive podcast where we relive a classic Japanese RPG.
Season 1 covers the cult classic Xenogears. In Season 2, we're covering Chrono Cross.
Each episode, we take a section of the game and unpack the story, mechanics, music, and themes.
And we have an AI companion, the FakeNet. It'll make sense later.
Find Retrograde Amnesia wherever podcasts are found.
Thank you. Beep. Oh, beep, beep. Thank you, Josh and Mom Brain. Something I was going to say. I'm so out of it today.
My name's Josh Robot, and I'm here to say I'm the best on this podcast, far and away. I'm so great. And you guys suck. If you don't like that, I don't give a darn.
He's good, man. He's good. He's gonna. I predict a multi-platinum rap career ahead of Josh.
I'm a party animal.
You might remember some months ago we did a story on a podcast about this brand of popsicles in Japan, and they were doing a Pokemon collaboration, and the sticks,
Pokesicles,
the sticks for these Pokesicles gave you the chance to win a special
splinter in your tongue,
a special Pokemon trading card for Zarude. And people who won would send the stick in to the company that made the popsicles, and they would get the card. And obviously the card is valuable, but people were selling the popsicle sticks on auction sites because people wanted the sticks rather than the cards because they didn't trust the third party with the card. They wanted to redeem the stick themselves and get the card sent directly to their house from the manufacturer, which would better ensure a higher quality card. So these cards were going for like upwards of $470, or these sticks were going for upwards of $470 on auction sites. Well, whenever there's money to be made, you can be sure someone's trying to game the system, be it legally or illegally. And in this case, it was someone doing something illegal. There's some guy in Japan. His name is Takashi Ono, 43 years old. He decided he was going to forge winning popsicle sticks. So whatever the message is that was on a stick that told you won the card, he tried to copy that. And he was so brazen that he didn't try to sell the popsicle sticks on auction sites. He made the fake sticks and tried to redeem them through the popsicle company. So he tried to fool the popsicle company rather than doing the nefarious thing of selling fake sticks to a third party and taking their money. He thought he was so good at forgery that he would fool the company directly. Obviously, if a third party buys the stick and then tries to redeem it and they get screwed, he could still get in trouble. But that's one person removed. He was like, I'm going to do it. Well, obviously, the popsicle stick company caught on to what he did. They examined the sticks just to make sure they weren't legit, saw that they weren't, and now the man is arrested. So we don't know how long we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be, a fine, if he's going to do jail time or whatever, but crime does not pay, literally, in this circumstance. So this kind of stuff is only going to make the value of the sticks and the cards go even higher because you can see how crazy people are still going with these sticks, and they've been out for a while. So if you are trying to get one of these cards or these sticks, watch out for forgeries. Sykes Primero says, if only he had Crazy Diamond. Okay. Usually I'm up on my references. I don't know what that means.
Wow.
If someone in the chat could help me out, I would appreciate it. If only he had Crazy Diamond, and Crazy Diamond is capitalized. I don't know what that means. Is it a Pokemon thing? Is it something else? I got no idea. Somebody help me. Moving on. Nintendo, the long arm of the Nintendo law and the Nintendo ninjas are in action once again.
JoJo?
I was going to guess JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I didn't because I don't know a lot about it, but something about that screamed JoJo to me. Damn it, I should have done it.
JoJo?
JoJo what? Siwa? Yeah, JoJo Siwa, definitely. What do you keep saying?
Who's JoJo?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an anime.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You couldn't tell by the name? That's really weird.
Who knows?
Anyway, Nintendo has gone after fan-made games. Nintendo has sent hundreds of DMCA notices to the website Game Jolt, which hosts fan-made games. And there were a lot of Nintendo-related fan-made games there. 379 different fan-made games were given tied to DMCA notices. And those games are all gone now. Now, what we don't know is if those fan-made games used Nintendo's assets from their games. So Did these fan-made games use sprites from Nintendo games or audio from Nintendo games or some bit of code from Nintendo games? I don't know. I can't tell you. We have seen Nintendo go after fan games before. This is nothing new. And I know people get upset, but if the games were using sprites or other assets directly ripped from a Nintendo game, then Nintendo was in their right to do so. Is it morally right? Does it really hurt Nintendo? I mean, I can't tell you because I don't run the business. We know that other companies out there don't take this approach and are more welcoming of fan games, even when they use assets from that company's games. So we know that companies out there can exist with this stuff going on, but Nintendo decides to enforce the law in this instance. And again, I'm saying legally it is their right to do so, and they are in the right to do it. But just, from like a fan perspective or a moral perspective, you're like, do you really got to do this? Is this really hurting you that much? I don't know. I can see both sides of the argument on that one, but legally, yeah. Mike in Television says, this is the key statement. Quote, Nintendo targeted titles that use assets from their games, be it visual, audio, or some form of code, end quote. People need to realize that you can't take things without permission and expect to be able to use them. Yeah, that's what I was saying. We don't know what the case is, if the fan-made games were wholly original and had their own unique portrayals of Nintendo characters, or if some of them used assets from Nintendo games. So we don't know, but they're gone now. We're not doing that. There was a Monster Hunter event this past week. You guys know about it. Monster Hunter Rise. There was a presentation. There's a new trailer. We learned more about the game, and most importantly, there's a demo out right now. So if you want to try out Monster Hunter Rise, this is a limited time demo. I believe it's available until January 31st, so you don't have a lot of time. I think there's 30 quests in there that you can participate in. So if you're curious if the game is for you or how this Monster Hunter game is turning out, you can download the demo. But we have a full recap of the presentation and all that if you'd like to see it. We have some data on Switch sales in the UK. And this shows you just how well the Switch is doing all over the world, even in the UK. So we don't have the specific numbers, but we have a statistic that is super impressive. This comes from Christopher Dring, the head of games industry, who tracks sales. Switch sales in the UK for 2020 are roughly equal to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S combined. Wow. Can I get the Yoshi, please?
Whoa.
There we go. Yeah, so all those platforms combined. Now, if it was just PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, it wouldn't be as impressive because, again, those platforms are limited in supply and there haven't been many sold yet. But when you factor in PS4 and Xbox One, then, yeah, the number is really, or the statistic is really impressive. Tanuki Tony says, wow.
Whoa.
Tanuki Tony says, I'm waiting on you. Wow, Mom Brain.
I was trying.
Wow, that's really impressive. I wonder what this means for Nintendo's appeal long-term in the UK. I know we always say UK is PlayStation territory, but these numbers are becoming increasingly common thanks to the Switch. Yes, the Switch really has had a breakthrough in the UK. Switch has been doing well in the UK, but yeah, UK is big on Sony, but they're big on Switch right now too. Mom Brain.
Yes, my dear.
You're a fan of Animal Crossing.
I am.
Nintendo, you're a fan of Animal Crossing.
That is accurate.
Are you still playing it?
I haven't in some time.
Oh, boy.
Usually, I get burnt out on things.
Well, let me tell you a story that may rekindle your love of Animal Crossing. There was this guy, and a pandemic hit, and he was stuck at home. And he's like, I need something to do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what everybody else is doing. I'm going to pick up a Switch, and I'm going to play Animal Crossing. So he was playing Animal Crossing, passing the time, really enjoying the game, doing his whatever, chores or whatever you want to call them in Animal Crossing. He came into a lot of bells. And he was like, this is more bells than I need. I want to give back. So he went on Facebook to see if there were any Animal Crossing Facebook groups, and there are bazillions. And he found one that tickled his fancy. And he went on and was like, hey, I got some bells. Anybody need some bells? I'll give you the bells. Just, you can meet me on the island. And one woman reached out and she's like, yeah, I'll take some bells. I need some bells. And she said, how about you come to my island and we'll exchange the bells and blah, blah, blah. So we went to her island, exchanged bells. And she was like, why don't I show you around my island? So they took a tour of the island and hung out virtually. And they had a great time. And after that,
Baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low.
After that, they stayed in touch through Facebook and Animal Crossing. They visited each other virtually many times and texted one another while they were playing the game. And they formed a relationship. And that relationship just led to an engagement.
That's so lovely.
This couple who met because of Animal Crossing is now engaged. They set something up to meet in person. They set something up to meet in person. And the guy flew to the girl, I believe. And before he left, he purchased a engagement ring. And he said, you know, if it feels right, I'm going to go for it. And apparently it felt right. And he proposed and she said yes. So they are going to get married, all because of Animal Crossing. Isn't that a lovely story?
That is a lovely story.
We have people on GoNintendo.
Being married in Animal Crossing.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, they better. We have had people on GoNintendo who have gotten into relationships because of GoNintendo and also gotten married because of GoNintendo. So
do you think we've ever caused a divorce?
Oh boy, I don't know. Well, yeah.
The Mango JoJo's?
The Mango JoJo's. That's what
Stop, I was absolved of that.
Steel Diver says, I'd rather die single and alone, which I plan to, than meet someone in a children's store. I know Steel Diver. I'm pretty sure he's joking there. Yeah, that's a really cool story. Obviously, you have to be careful playing any game online with strangers, but these were two adults and things worked out. And like I said, they discussed the meeting on Facebook before they went into games, so I'm sure they snooped around on each other's profiles and saw what they felt was someone safe to meet up with virtually. And then they continued to talk for months and months and months too. So good luck to that couple. I wish them well. And as Nintendo said, they better get married in Animal Crossing.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Josh, are you a sucker for weddings?
I'm a party animal.
I guess I guess a lot of people get excited for weddings because of parties. Josh, are you married?
I'm the world's best singer.
Wedding singer, yeah.
Come sing your wedding.
You're right, Josh. North America, what do we got this week? The 19th Maximus Cup is going on in Tetris 99. It's Kirby Fighters 2 themed, so get in there and check that out. Also available this week, Arcade Archives Shanghai 3, Arkanoid Breakout, Dead Ground, Epitaph, Grand Prix Racing, Iris Fall, Kingdom Tales 2, Mahjong Adventure, Radio Commander, Slay Uncool Monsters, Sense, a Cyberpunk Ghost Story, Stardash, Super Moose,
Ooh,
Top Gun Air Combat,
the Super Moose,
Travel Mosaic 7, Fantastic Berlin, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest,
Heart of the Fart,
Wrestling Empire, and Yume Midori Nostalgia. A quieter week for releases, but it is the first week of the year. Shillelagh says Nintendo are late this week with the download release information. Yeah, it came out Friday instead of Thursday. There's no good or big game in there, reflected in the highest price of the game being $20.
Oh, it's Lube.
In the chat?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it is early January after all, so it's to be expected, I guess. Yeah, it makes sense, certainly. Hello, Lube. I hope you're doing well. You can relay any Lube messages to me, Mombre. We can do that. We don't need to do that. Animal Crossing New Horizons made it into the top 10 best-selling games in the UK when it comes to physical game releases for 2020. It made it to number 6 on the list, and it sold 810,000 units. Again, that's
Excuse me, there's a message from Lube.
Yes.
That werewolf game was hard on Forrest.
I don't understand.
Well, it's not my problem.
It sold over 810,000 units. We have the full top 10, and it's important to point out Animal Crossing is number 6, sold to 810,000 units, but Animal Crossing is the only one on the list that is physical numbers only. Every other game on the list includes its digital numbers. So Animal Crossing New Horizons is probably much higher on this list. It's just we only have the physical data because that's all Nintendo shares. Your top 10 started with number 10, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, NBA 2K20, The Last of Us Part 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, FIFA 20, Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and FIFA 21. There you go. First comment comes from Shillelagh. Says, that's a very impressive number, especially as it's the UK and Nintendo. Yes, I agree. And then finally, we have another great story which warms my heart. It's about Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Nintendo, have you ever played a Pikmin game?
Yes, I have. The original one.
You got to play Pikmin 3 Deluxe. It's so good. Pikmin 3 Deluxe is on the Switch, and as you know, as some of you know, it released on the Wii U, and the Wii U didn't exactly do so well, so the game didn't get a lot of attention, but it is doing quite well on Switch. We have specific data for Japan. With the most recent sales data, which comes from this week, we see that Pikmin 3 Deluxe has sold 499,000 units in Japan, and that's only physical. Again, we don't know the digital number for that because Nintendo does not report digital numbers. But that 499,000 units in and of itself is important because it set a record. Pikmin 3 Deluxe is now the fastest selling entry in the Pikmin franchise. And it has already outsold Pikmin 2. Pikmin 2 sold 480,000 units. And the original Pikmin sold over 500,000 units. But again, we don't know the digital numbers for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So there's no doubt that Pikmin 3 Deluxe sold 1,000 units digitally. It probably sold, I would guess, anywhere from 40 to 60,000 units digitally. And that's lowballing it, I think. So basically, Pikmin 3 Deluxe is the fastest selling game in the franchise in Japan, as well as the best selling game in the franchise for Japan. So that's great. Maybe by this time next year, the game will have hit 1 million units sold in Japan alone, which it's certainly deserving of. We should find out the game is certainly over 1 million units worldwide. And we'll find that out at Nintendo's next financial briefing, which is coming up soon. Giancarlo Tomaz Senoni says, nice. Nintendo now end the suffering of Pikmin fans like Arlo and release Pikmin 4 on Switch or its successor. Yeah, hopefully we get a legitimately brand new Pikmin. But as I said, the Wii U did not sell well, and Pikmin 3 didn't have a big audience or a big platform to reach an audience on. So having it come to Switch was important, and it was apparently the right move to make. All right. That's it. Mom Brain, what'd you play?
I didn't play anything.
Thanks, Mom Brain. Nintendo, I'm sure you have some things to talk about.
Do I?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I have a disappointing thing to share, which is that I had taken a long hiatus.
Oh, no.
From playing Mega Man,
No.
and now I am terrible, and I have to get my mojo back. So I was very distressed.
You lost your muscle memory.
Yes. I was like, I used to be so good at this. So that's the only thing. And I put it down. So maybe I don't know what to do because I left off at
Yellow Devil.
Yeah, and that was like really discouraging. And it's hard to get back in it, but I'm going to make the effort.
Man, you were really going there and you were sticking with it and motoring and you got to the Yellow Devil and you just fell off.
I know. I think it might have been a culmination of like Christmas happened and I've been writing a lot and reading, which is not to say those things are better than playing video games, but sometimes I feel more productive doing those things. So
poor Mega Man's just sitting there waiting for another chance at the Yellow Devil.
I know. Well, and it's also I don't want to do it because I want to play the old ones since now I have.
I was just gonna say, remember you have the old ones to go back to now.
Maybe I should like play those for a little bit and they'll get me going again. I don't know.
Yeah, play Mega Man 2 for the nostalgia because that's the one you probably played the most.
Mr. Nintendo just left grocery shop, but he was starting to play something on Switch. He didn't tell me the name of it, and I noticed he was playing because he was in the corner and going, oh. And I was like, what? He's like, this is very emotional. Raw meat would like this, but I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Is he playing Ori and the Blind Forest?
Maybe he said it was like Journey.
I don't think that. I wouldn't call that. I thought he talked to me about Ori recently. He texted me like maybe it was a week ago or.
Anastasia Beaverhausen says Honey Pop.
He's playing Honey Pop. If not longer than that, and I forget what he said. Yeah, you'll have to ask him what he's playing. I'm curious.
I will.
Is he trying to expand his horizons in games now?
He will try things. He just will hate them.
After being Mom Brain, you didn't hear that. Nintendo and I were talking about Mr. Nintendo because we were saying there's just certain games we know he won't like because they don't slot into the genres he typically plays, and he got very offended by it.
Yes.
Maybe he's
don't try and put him in a box.
Maybe he's trying to expand the horizons. Hopefully,
he was also like, I really am very good at just like tuning out whatever I don't want to pay attention to. I learned that from mommy.
Yeah, right.
And so like he's often playing video games in the background while I'm like doing something else, and he was playing something else. I don't know what it was. This is so bad because I don't know any of the things, but his reactions are hysterical because he's playing it and he's like, just like, he spends the entire time yelling at the TV, like, you gotta be kidding me. And I can't do this. Oh, it was something he talked to you about, I think, because he was talking about how he needed to buy, like he spent dollars on things.
He was playing Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Well, it made him very angry.
Yo, that's
and he's like, it's impossible to beat it unless you buy these things. And he was about to give up, and like I was going to sleep, and right as he was about to give up, he was like, I beat it.
Yeah, he texted me and he was like, so I got to spend money to beat this game? I was like, no, you don't have to. I don't know what you're talking about. We had a little talk on, I guess it helped him realize another way of doing something. So I'm glad it worked out then.
But I'm always asking him while he's playing games, like, do you even enjoy this?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I could ask you the same question.
Yes, agreed. But
I can't express my joy enough in the fact that you are playing Mega Man 10 and also that I am not around to see it.
Well, that's the thing. I think you would be very pleasantly surprised. I'm very zen these days. In the beginning, when I first started, I had to like find a space of peace because I will like if he was sitting next to me, I just like tap him really hard on the shoulder if I like die. Well,
it might be the same problem that Mom says she has. Like Mom says she plays games fine, but when I'm around, even if I'm not saying anything, she gets flustered.
Yes. He will walk in the room and just like walk in the room and like, you're interrupting me. Don't look.
I will never forget both of you actually, Mom Brain and Nintendo, when you guys played Skyward Sword and you were at the last fight. I just remember both of you like standing up in the middle of the living room, like stomping feet and like running around, and Mom Brain doing her like, come on. And Nintendo shooting daggers at the TV screen.
That felt so good when I beat it. Well, and the thing, I felt bad a lot playing Mega Man because Nessie is usually like on my feet, and I'll kick my feet when I play, like trying to get over holes and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
That's I mean, a lot of people do that when they play games, but that's definitely a family trait for us, without a doubt. Okay, Nintendo, thank you very much for sharing.
You're so welcome.
What'd you play, Romy?
Oh, thank you, Mom Brain. Thank you. She makes me wait every single time. What did I play this week?
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I played more Hades, which I talked about last week, and a couple friends have picked up Hades since hearing about it, and they're loving it just as much. I know Kirby's very excited to talk about Hades because he talked to me yesterday saying he couldn't make it to the podcast, but he was very excited to talk about Hades. So I'll leave the discussion to him. Vitamin G is also playing Hades and loving it. And I talked about it last week. Just it's so addictive and so well made, and every aspect of it is really enjoyable. So I'm still playing that. I have not beaten it yet. Obviously that game takes a little bit of time to get through because you have to learn enemy patterns and level up and all that stuff. I'll get there, but very much enjoying it. I played more Fortnite as usual. We played a whole bunch this week because that's our go-to game, and we're still having a ton of fun with that. And I got into the second chapter of Tell Me Why, which I know I mentioned on the podcast a few weeks ago, because I played the first chapter and then things got busy and I didn't have time to get back into it. But this week I did have a chance to play some of chapter 2. I'm not finished with chapter 2 yet. I think I'm at the last part of it though. And there's only 3 chapters. So I'm still very much enjoying that. Like I said, that's made by Don't Nod, the company that did Life is Strange. And it's the same type of game as that. Story-based game where you have to make decisions and dialogue, and there's exploration, stuff like that. But no, like running around or shooting or anything like that. It's just it's a narrative adventure game. But I'm enjoying it. There's things about the story I still don't know, and I'm intrigued with what I've learned, and I'm very curious about what I haven't heard yet and how things are going to wrap up. So I'm very interested in that. Nintendo, I was going to tell you to play, but it's on PS4. Oh, I don't know if it is. I don't remember. Because you liked Life is Strange a lot.
Yes, I did.
Tell me why. Let's see if it's. I don't know if it's on PS4. Let's see. Tell me why. It's on Steam. Why the hell is this giving me such trouble today? Tell me why. Okay, no, it's just on Windows and Xbox One. I'm sorry.
I mean,
well, you can play it on computer.
I can play it on my laptop, my work laptop.
Yeah. I'm very busy. Don't bother. But yeah, I'm enjoying that game. The story is interesting. Mom Brain came down one morning. My game room is in the basement, and the bedroom is all the way upstairs. And Mom Brain, I'll let you tell the story.
Oh, well, so I came down from the bedroom to like make my coffee and whatnot, and I could hear coming from the basement this like very strange music. It was like not music I would have expected from a game. So I like listened for another minute and then went downstairs, and it was like so surreal because he was like, the music was weird and the lights were really dim and it was just very strange. And he was like rifling through somebody's stuff. I was like, what the heck is going on down here?
I was in like I wasn't supposed to be in the game. I was in a police station's like archives where I wasn't supposed to be, and I'm doing research by sneaking into the place, and there's like intense music playing as I'm like poring over like documents and searching through a computer for keywords. And it's, the music is, like I said, very intense. And Mom Brain comes downstairs and she's like, what's going on?
But it was like it was just, it sounded like strange music. Like
it wasn't like loud or anything, but it was like,
yeah, it was very strange.
So yeah, I'm playing that. Very good. I'll probably finish that up this week. And oh yes, I played something else. I went to go find a charger for my Game Boy Micro because I was like, I know where the Micro is, but I don't know where the charger is because I didn't have it in the case that I had the Micro in, which is stupid. I don't know what I did with it, but throughout the years, I've amassed a whole bunch of different chargers and adapters, and I had luckily a charger that fit the Game Boy Micro and an adapter that let me plug it into the wall. So it's 2 different cables, but it works, and it charged it up. And I was like, let me just see if this sucker still works. I turned it on like a couple months ago just to see if it came on, and it did, but I didn't play anything. I was like, let me play something just to see if it works. and I went through my box of GBA games, and I saw Drill Dozer, and I was like, I'll give Drill Dozer a shot. And I ended up playing Drill Dozer for like an hour. I started a new file and started playing through it again. I was like, man, this game's so good. Drill Dozer was made by Game Freak, one of their few non-Pokemon games. Once Pokemon came around, that's pretty much all they really do.
The game is fun.
Thank you, Reggie. I agree. So I played that, and Drill Dozer has the rumble inside the cartridge as well. So the cartridge is bigger than a regular GBA cartridge physically. Wow. And on the Game Boy Micro, because the system is so small, you really feel the rumble a lot more. And I just love how the rumble's used, because you use the shoulder buttons to control your drill, and you eventually get 3 gears in each level for your drill. So there's 3 different variations of speed and power for the drill. So it's just fun. You shift between the gears, and it feels good, and the music's great, and I love the way the game looks. And all I could really think when I was playing the Game Boy Micro was, man, this system is really small. The screen is so small. I remembered it being small, but actually sitting down to play it now, I was like, holy crap. Obviously, I'm bigger in when did the Micro come out?
I feel like we were outside in the city and you had one, or maybe we were waiting.
No,
for
I
one,
bought
or
it. I bought it at the Nintendo World Store when it was called the Nintendo World Store. And I was like trying to decide if I wanted to buy it. I was like, I don't need it, but I think it's so cool. I really like the idea. And I forget why I ended up getting it. It came out 2005. So 15 years ago it came out. And I have grown more wide since then, and my hands are fatter. And I was playing it, and my hands didn't cramp, but I was like, "Look, I'm a beat. This thing is so tiny in my hands."
in your mitts.
Lube says it was September 205. So
Great. Joe is cool says, "Wow, it's been 1,816 years."
What are you saying, Nintendo?
No, I said 205 BC.
Yeah. So, I spent time.
Lube says it had a good run.
So I had fun playing that. I ended up playing. You know what I wanted to play? I wanted to play. What was it called? DK King of Swing. Was that the Game Boy Advance one? But I don't know where that cartridge is. It must be in one of my Game Boy Advances somewhere here. I'm gonna have to go through it. Whatever that. I know there are 2 of those games. Whatever the GBA one was, I gotta look that up. DK King of Swing. Yeah, it was King of Swing. Okay. I really liked that game. That's what I was looking to play, but I don't know where it is. It's here somewhere. All right. Let's do Questioms.
Okay.
Send your questions to GoNintendoQuestions@gmail.com.
Where?
GoNintendoQuestions@gmail.com. They
Oh,
can be
yes.
about Nintendo. They can be about video games in general, or they can be about whatever the hell you want. This week's question comes from Gecko Kitsune. And they ask, what do you like to put on your hot dog? Mom Brain, what do you like to put on your hot dog?
I don't particularly like hot dogs, but if I'm gonna have one, spicy mustard and relish.
Nintendo, your hot dogs?
Oh boy, I want some yums, some pickles, some ketchups, some mustards. I want the works. Typically, if it's like a style hot dog, I like the Chicago style hot dog. Yep.
Question: hot dog, scale 1 to 10. Nintendo.
Like in terms of rating it amongst all other foods in the world.
Yes, as a food, yes.
I mean, it's pretty good. I'll give it a solid 7.
Whoa!
I love a good dog.
Mom Brain, hot dog, scale 1 to 10.
So, in the grand scheme of things, I'd give a hot dog like a 3.
Oh,
But
no.
But when it's a really good hot dog and I'm in the mood, it can be like a 10.
When that hot dog hits.
When the hot dog really hits. Yeah, like I'm not
Man,
a big...
this hot dog slaps.
Yeah, not a big fan. But every once in a while in the summer at a barbecue, I think I've talked about this before, I get in the mood for one. And I also really enjoy coleslaw on a hot dog.
Oh no, coleslaw. That's like the world's most hated whatever. What is it even?
Slaw.
A condiment?
Side.
Slop.
It's a side.
Nader Die says, I just ate 3 corn dogs, actually. Much superior to the original hot dog in a bun.
I
Week,
love corn dogs.
This week, I had tiny hot dogs.
Hot dogs, franks and blanks.
Hors d'oeuvre hot dogs.
Hoodovers.
Hello, Mice and Gods. And Mice and Gods, I'm like you. Mice and Gods says, I eat them plain like a heathen. I also eat them plain. I used to eat them with ketchup, but just give me that hot dog flavor.
Gross.
I want
hot dog and milk. Dunk it in milk.
Somebody in the chat said milk because we were talking recently about how Friendly's plumps up their hot dogs with milk.
Do you think that if you participated in one of those hot dog eating challenges where you must eat the bun, you would dip the bun in milk to help it go down?
Well, if you're going to be competitive, you have to dip the bun in something. I don't know if I would go with milk.
Yeah, I feel like milk would be counterproductive.
I think I'd just stick with water like everybody else. That guy, what's his name? Joey Chestnut. He ate, I think it was like 75 or 76 hot dogs in, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Ew.
I gotta look that up.
Imagine the belches.
I feel like there's also a trend on TikTok where people are like just coughing up whole hot dogs.
Yes. Have you seen the guy who like yarfs it into the bun?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that guy's great. All right, let's see. Okay, here we go. Joey Chestnut.
Yes, Mice and Gods. Yes, we do. Often at like a Home Depot, you'll see a hot dog stand.
In 2020, Joey Chestnut consumed 75 hot dogs. A world record for the contest. Yes, but how? Oh, here we go. I can look it up. I was going to say I need to know the time. This guy's got records and everything. Here you go. He ate 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes. How many hot dogs is that a minute?
Nearly one.
And way more than one.
That's nuts.
Well, so it'd be like more than 7 hot dogs a minute.
Ooh, Hiley and Tom says, I got a Costco membership for Christmas, and the hot dogs there are pretty good.
He ate more than 7 hot dogs per minute. 7 times 10 is 70. He ate 75. What are you looking at me weird for? And as Nintendo said, he's eating buns too. 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes. He also, in 2020, ate 32 Big Macs in 38 minutes.
Now that doesn't feel so bad.
32 Big Macs in 38 minutes isn't so bad.
That's bad. Yeah, Mice and God says a hot dog every 7 to 8 seconds.
Holy crap.
What?
Holy crap. Nintendo.
He's not chewing, right? He's just...
Yeah, for sure.
Nintendo, Mom Brain.
Yeah.
You guys are going to appreciate this one. Joey Chestnuts in 2019 ate 61 and a half pork roll sandwiches in 10 minutes.
I could do that. I'll give him 6. You know what? I'll do them one better. I'll do the 62.
Oh my God.
I could do it. Oh, are we talking pork roll, egg, and cheese? Is this a bagel? What kind? A hard roll?
I mean, I could get you the details after the podcast.
Better be a hard roll.
Be a hard roll.
It was part of the world famous Cases pork roll eating championship.
Well, that's the problem. It's Cases. And we all know Taylor.
I didn't even know pork roll existed outside of Taylor's.
I agree.
He also ate 18 pounds of shrimp cocktail in 8 minutes.
No.
Ew. Imagine what his upper lip smelled like.
All right, here we go.
He probably sweated seafood stank.
Oh my God.
He started growing like little shrimp legs.
What's this? He ate 257 Hostess donuts in 6 minutes.
How dry.
Right? You would choke to death. Here you go, Mom Brain. Maybe you could do this one. He ate 25.5 ice cream sandwiches in 6 minutes.
I think I could do that.
What about the ice cream headache?
Yeah, I know, right? That's a whole thing I didn't even think of.
Yeah.
That slows you down.
I guess you just got to power through it.
You know who could do that? Nikki Hill.
Probably.
That man can eat ice cream.
That's probably true. And one more I'll give you. In 2013, he set a record by eating 121 Twinkies in 6 minutes.
They're like perfect shape to just shoot down. What was that sound?
That sounds like that thing, that tube that you flip upside down. It's in the same family as.
Well, everybody, thanks for taking that journey with us through the career of Joey Chestnut. Hiling Tom says now he's in the mood for zebra cakes. Yeah,
It's funny you say that. I almost ordered those today.
Oh, we missed out. All right, thank you for the question, Gecko Kitsune. Great question. Also, we have a Patreon question. Mom Brain,
Yes.
did you know that you can join the Patreon
For $1.
for $1? Thank you. Today's Patreon question comes from Tanuki Tony. They say,
Hi, Tanuki Tony.
in keeping with my previous GN Patreon questions, I'd like to ask about gaming memories yet again. I enjoyed hearing about your DS and Wii era memories previously. The N64 era is a favorite of mine, and I have fond memories playing multiplayer on GoldenEye, Pokemon Stadium, Mario Kart, Mario Party, and more. Does the podcast crew have any specific memories to share about the N64 or PS1 or Sega Saturn? I do. Well, go ahead, Nintendo. You can start.
I just feel like that was like the golden age of gaming for me.
Being able to play games and having time to play games.
Yeah, like so much time you could dedicate to it. I really enjoyed playing Perfect Dark a lot back then, but that
you did with the laptop minigun and the aliens.
Yes, that was so good. And we've had much fun with GoldenEye. I'm trying to think of Sega Saturn stuff.
I don't think you ever played the Saturn. You played the PlayStation 1, though. You played stuff there. But on the N64 Nintendo, did you have a fun time playing Mario Party?
Every single time. You know, the thing with Mario Party is I don't like it when luck is involved. I want everyone to play for their skills only.
Oh, you're only allowed to get stars through winning mini games, and that's it.
I really haven't played anything on Sega Saturn.
I don't think you've even seen a Sega Saturn. You've seen a Dreamcast.
Well, Sega CD I played, obviously, because my favorite game's on there.
Yeah, there was Sega CD, and there was a
When
30.
was Saturn, before or after CD?
Saturn was after Sega CD, but before Dreamcast.
Did you have one?
I did not own one, no.
Oh, well, then I never saw it.
Yeah, you played Sega CD, and you played Dreamcast, but no
I can't
Saturn.
believe you didn't own it.
Well, I was
What
thinking
happened
about
there?
getting it, and by the time I thought about getting it, they stopped. Like, it was dead. That was it. They were going to the Dreamcast. So,
I feel like the DeVitas had one.
a Saturn? No, they had a Sega CD because that's the one that I have now. They gave it to me. On the N64, yeah, we played a ton of GoldenEye. We played the original Smash Brothers. I have great memories playing the original Smash Brothers with Lube too. Since Lube's in the chat, we played that a lot.
We all participated in the mall tournament of Smash Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Was that 64 or GameCube?
I think it might have. I know we did Melee for sure, but I don't remember if we did N64. We might have. I'm trying to think. Well, N64 when it was first coming out.
Luke says it was the cube.
I know I've talked about this before, but since you're asking for memories, I was counting down the days to the launch of the N64, and I had like all the magazine adverts for it hung up on my bedroom door that I would just run home from school and like look at them and read them and be like, oh my God, look at this. I can't wait to play it. And the N64 came in like a week early. And I remember being at the bus stop. And when did the 64 come out? 96? I found out that it was coming out that day, and I called GameStop from school. And they were like, yeah.
Like on the payphone?
Yeah. They were like, yeah, it's here. You can get it. I was like, oh, what? And they're like, yeah, it came in early. You can come get it today. And I don't know if I've ever been more excited for a system because you just don't expect it to come out early. I still don't know how that happened. But I got that and I played Super Mario 64 and I was just blown away because like it was a 3D Mario game and I hadn't really played anything not like a 3D platformer like that, certainly. I remember feeling like nervous when walking on a ledge because you're going to fall. It just gave you a different sense when you were playing it. And I was so excited about it that I took the box and the instruction booklet and I put it in my backpack and I would just read it in like study hall. And I would read it over and over and over again, even though I was already playing the game at home. I just, instead of studying in study hall, I would read the instruction booklet. And with the PS1, I was very upset because this was the time when mom and dad were like, we're not getting you any more systems. And the PS1 was out, but Sony was new to making games and I didn't know if it was going to be popular or they knew what they were doing. And then, you know, big things started to come out and I was like, oh my God, I'm missing out. I have to get this. I don't remember how I got it. I know I traded stuff in to get it, but I didn't get it when it came out. Like I got it maybe a year after it came out, and it killed me because our friend Scott had one, and he would only play like sports games. And I convinced him to get like Resident Evil one day, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." But I was like, I remember feeling embarrassed that I didn't have it. I was like, I'm supposed to like video games. I gotta get this, and I was like, I can't believe. Because Nintendo, mom was fine, but dad was always like, this is a phase. He's not going to play games forever.
Thanks a lot, Daddy.
But I got the PS1 eventually, and I was just blown away by having games on discs, because that was crazy to me. Like putting the disc in and hearing the PlayStation noise. I was like, it was just incredible to me. That startup PlayStation noise is one of my favorite noises. I'm gonna play it for nostalgia's sake since we're talking about it. Mom, Brain, do you have any N64 memories?
I do not. I mean, I didn't own them like myself, and they were like.
Do you remember the first time you came over to my house?
You were playing Shadow Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you came over and were hanging out with me and watched me play Shadow Man.
Yeah.
And somehow we're here today.
Was that when the system was in your room?
No,
it was in the living room.
room.
It was in the living room. Yeah.
Because there was a point where at least Dreamcast was in your room. Remember?
Yeah, I had that little crappy TV
Bizarre.
cart with that tiny like 19-inch TV with the Dreamcast.
I have pictures of like a bunch of us in there with Buddy, like everybody.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
everybody's sitting in there.
Well, yeah, and then I eventually moved it from that cart to I put my dresser in my closet. I emptied out the closet and put the dresser in there and put the TV on there, and I had like $50 horrible stereo speakers from Walmart, and I was like, this is the coolest gaming setup ever. It was like a paper subwoofer that was like I was like, this is so cool. And I was like, yeah, I got my systems hooked up. They're in the drawers, and I would open up the drawer and like the NES and a Super Nintendo. Here's the PS1 startup noise. It feels magical. I wish more systems would put more attention on the startup noise. Everybody's like the startup noises today are so lame, in my opinion. The Switch doesn't even have a startup noise, which really bugs me. Well, to tell you the truth, I do like the little noise when you actually get into the menu of the Switch. That's like, bloop. I like that noise. But well, the Xbox has the same startup noise, right? It's just that noise or whatever. And PlayStation, like I feel like when we got the PlayStation 3, Sony was so up their own ass that they started doing like fancy startup noises that were just too bougie for me. Like the PlayStation 3 starts up with like somebody playing strings. It's like a symphony start, and I'm like, oh, come on, really? We need like the fun stuff. Like I want the GameCube startup noise, and I like the PS2 startup noise because that's all kinds of weird. And the Dreamcast is one of my favorites. The bing, boom, 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 bouncing across the letters. I gotta do that. I love startup noises for systems, and we don't really. I feel like we don't really have good ones anymore. I just typed in Dream, and Dreamcast startup was the first thing.
Was PS1 the first Resident Evil?
It was. Hold on one second. This is Dreamcast. Oh, I love it. I love it. So good. Yes, the first.
That reminds me of Seamen.
Yeah, that's right. The first Resident Evil was PlayStation 1. Yes.
Why did that come
I was just
here?
have memories of being really scared watching you play it.
I have memories of you, Nintendo, watching me play Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. Because not to bring up old memories, but it was, I believe it was you and Donnie. And
well, what year was it?
What?
What year was that?
I gotta look up when that came out. But you guys were watching me play that, and it got to a point where you guys wouldn't let me play it unless you were around because you wanted to see what happened.
I remember the story.
I vividly remember that because I would want to play it, and you were like, "I'm not home. I'll be home in a couple hours." You can't. Let's see when it came out. 2005.
Yep.
There you go. What was I going to say? The Dreamcast was here, Mom Brain, because your parents had gone away and I had started playing Seaman, and I was like, I can't leave my Seaman at home.
That's right.
I have to bring it here and take care of him. He's going to die.
Right.
And you were watching me play. Yeah, I played it in the living room because I had to feed him and take care of him.
Yeah.
And talk to him in the microphone. Yeah, man, what a great game.
So weird. So weird.
Well, there you go. We went down the nostalgia rabbit hole there. You got more than you bargained for. Thank you for the question, Tanuki Tony. I appreciate it. Well, we did it. This has been what, 3:15, 4:15, not even 2 hours.
We did it, Joe.
Is this oh, you know what? There was something I wasn't going to talk about because I didn't think we'd have enough time, and I didn't want to make the show long, but since we're not even 2 hours yet, I will talk about it. Nintendo, have you seen The Hustler? The new game show. The new game show, Craig Ferguson.
Oh, no, not yet.
You have to watch it. There's 2 episodes so far, and it is so great. And just him as a host, he's great, but the show is really cool. So for those who don't know, Hustler is 5 players, and one of them is the Hustler, but nobody knows who the Hustler is. Throughout the course of the show, there's 10 trivia questions, and it's the team's job to answer them correctly, because every time they get one right, they get $10,000 in a bank. The thing is, the Hustler always knows the right answer. So obviously the Hustler wants them to make the money. But they don't want to come out with the right answer every time because people will be like, you're the Hustler. The Hustler has to play it sly. And as the game continues, 2 people are voted out throughout the course of the game. Everybody votes, but the only vote that counts is the Hustler, and that whoever they vote for leaves. Now, what happens at the very end is there's 3 people. If the Hustler is not discovered, then the Hustler wins the entire bank and the other 2 players get nothing. But if the Hustler is discovered, then the Hustler gets nothing and the 2 people split the cash that they're getting. And the first episode, I figured out who the Hustler was. And the second episode, I did not figure out who the Hustler was. I was blown away. But it's Craig Ferguson. He plays it up. The second episode, people are so intense in it. It gets really it gets pretty heated. People really get into it. And Craig's like, oh, okay, everybody calm down a little bit.
How do you figure out who the Hustler is?
Oh, that's the other. Yeah, I didn't mention it. So the Hustler knows to answer every question, but also with each question, a fact about the Hustler is given. So one of them is the Hustler has the Olympic rings tattooed on them. And, they can do a little small talk between each other. And Craig tries to Craig also doesn't know who the Hustler is. So he's trying to ask some questions along the way to get everybody thinking about different stuff. But he honestly doesn't know who it is. So you have 10 different facts you'll know about The Hustler as the game goes on. It's so much fun. You got to watch it. What do you have for you got Comcast, right? Yeah, where you got regular TV.
What kind of question?
I'm sure it's on demand. I was just trying to think of how you could watch it. It's on ABC. You got to watch it. Also, very quickly, and then we'll go. Mom or Nintendo, are you watching The Bachelor this season?
No, it's very funny because you have gotten into The Bachelor last year or the year before?
The one with Corinne. That's all I can tell you.
Ugh.
I think that was 5 years ago.
Corinne is one of the reasons I stopped watching. I've always watched it for obvious reasons, but the past couple of seasons I haven't watched at all. But my old roommate from college is super into it and dresses her kid up for each season and stuff.
Wow.
It's amazing. He's into it also a jokey hate watch way, but
I thought you were going to be my one to turn to talk to about The Bachelor this year. There's only one episode. Are you sure you don't want to get in on it?
It just makes me so mad most of the time.
What if I told you one of the girls introduces herself by bringing a vibrator?
Well, I read about this online. It's they all have to have a gimmick to bring, and production gives some of them a thing. Now she's just the girl walking around with a dildo the entire episode or whatever. The
best part is she's tapping other girls with it on the shoulder, and she goes up to one. The Bachelor's with some girl, and this girl with the vibrator wants to talk to the Bachelor, so she she cuts into the conversation and taps her on the shoulder. The vibrator. She's like, "Can I steal them away for a minute?"
I do enjoy. That makes me think of all the SNL skits they do though, where they're
Yeah, I know. Hailey and Tom, you're not wrong. That's pretty much what she is like in the show. She's like, "Hi, I'm Dildo Girl." I mean, that's what she's known as. That's the whole first episode. Well, that's upsetting, Nintendo. I thought for sure I could talk to you about it.
No, I feel we'll see, because I am interested, since this is the first Black Bachelor, to see how terrible and racist people are.
Well, so far nobody seems racist, but there are, as with every other Bachelor season, some absolutely insane people.
Yeah.
There's one girl who wears a crown and pretends like she's a princess and makes everybody has to call her princess. It's terrible. And it's great seeing the quote unquote normal girls just shoot daggers at this girl. And she's around.
The thing that gets me about the Bachelor is that I don't know if it right now it is, but later in the season it gets so long. They're 2.5 hour episodes where it's I can't devote my whole night to Bachelor.
The first episode is 2 hours long. That's true. But I like that because if I'm into a show. See, this is like the podcast again. People who like the podcast are like, no, I don't want it to be shorter. I want it to be longer. Longer is better. So with any show that I'm into, I want it to be longer. I'm never like, oh, damn it, Raw is 3 hours. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I got 3 hours of Raw. Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I watch 9 hours of wrestling every week. Now it's on while I'm working and I have it on my second monitor. I'm not sitting down specifically to watch it. I'm getting stuff done, but 9 hours of wrestling every week, and I really look forward to it. But I was thinking about that. I started watching The Bachelor this season. I'm like, oh man, now I got 2 hours of that on Monday, and I got Raw on.
Maybe that means I just don't like it enough.
Now let me be very clear. I will never, ever skip Raw to watch The Bachelor. Never. I will never skip Raw to watch any other show. Raw is always number one. I will watch The Bachelor, but I'll record it. But Raw is yes, Kyle, I am the reason Raw is 3 hours long. So yeah, Raw is always my number one. Well, that's it. We had a fun one today. We talked about a lot of stupid stuff. We had some Nintendo news. Man, look at that picture.
I couldn't find the one with everybody on my phone, but I have this one.
Joe is cool. I'll talk about your comment in the after show. But that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this shorter show, and we should be back to regular next week. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Nintendo, don't leave. We'll see you next week. Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Joe is cool. If you wish Raw was 2 hours, you should watch the Hulu version of Raw if you can, because that is 2 hours. They cut out some of the stuff. Yeah, Kurt Dog, that's what I was saying. You're right. I reached that epiphany while I was doing this, that I anything that I like, I'm never like, boy, I wish this was shorter. I want more of it. So I understand. I just worry that we'll take it too far, too much. Like 3 hours or 2.5 hours, whatever, is a lot to dedicate to anything each week. So, but again, I know people listen to it like on the way to work, or on the way to school, or whenever they're doing chores or whatever. So, you look forward to it because you're like, oh, I got to do this thing, but I got this thing to entertain me while I do it. So I understand. Thank you, Kurt Dog. I appreciate that. We can certainly talk about random stuff forever. I know that. There's a whole list of things I was going to talk about this episode, but I wanted to make a concerted effort to get one out there that wasn't 3 hours or 2 hours and 50 minutes. Nintendo, you have something to say?
Sorry, I'm walking around, but I did want to say that with Nikki Hill's access to Apple TV Plus, my life is vastly improved.
What else are you watching on there?
So we're watching Servant.
Is that the M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah, well, and the hilarious thing, and I knew this already, but to see it is a different thing. It's filmed literally in front of my first apartment in Philly. You can see my front steps, and they're always walking down the street in it. So half of my enjoyment's just for that. But it is freaking bizarre, and Rupert Grint is like amazingly weird in it. I highly recommend. There's going to be a second season and a third season, which this is on brand for the combo. I was like, I wanted it to be done in one season.
When I saw the first trailer for Servant, when I was watching, I didn't know what it was about at all. I just knew M. Night Shyamalan did it. And they showed the baby, and I was like, oh my God, that baby looks terrible. That doesn't look real at all. And then the trailer continues, and I'm like, oh, it's not a real baby.
Yeah, because he like bonks its head on the crate, or I call it a crate because I think of children as dogs.
Put the baby in the crate and let's get going.
Goodbye, Giant Reggie. Thanks for coming. The baby crate.
So he bonks it on the crib, and like if you're watching the show and you didn't see the trailer and that happened, you're like, oh my God, what? I watched that, and I watched that documentary I said to watch, Boys State.
Yes.
Which was really good. I watched Wolfwalkers, obviously the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Wolfwalkers is great. I wish it was on another platform so more people could watch it.
Yeah, I know. And I watched because I watched Wolfwalkers, I also watched their previous The Secret of the Kells or whatever.
Yes.
Which was also very good. So now I have to watch Song of the Sea. That's the last one.
Yeah, this one that they just put out is the end of their trilogy of films. So Ross says he finished Sweet Home on Netflix. Do you know what Sweet Home is? I don't know what it is.
Sweet Home. Mm-mm.
And Wolford Chaser says #alive. I don't know what either of these shows are.
Oh, you know what I'm also watching that's bizarre? We're watching a lot of weird crap. Raised by Wolves on HBO Max, maybe? Or
oh, yeah. I wanted to see that. I think Dad was watching that.
Well, Dad's mind is probably blown then. It is super bizarre, but great to watch. For those of you who are not familiar, it is basically there was a war on Earth between atheists and scientists, or atheists and religious people, and it's resulted in like most people being dead. And it starts off where 2 androids are sent to a different planet to raise human children.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's very interesting.
I saw the trailers and I was interested in it. I just never got around to watching it.
That and The Stand on CBS All Access. which is the Stephen King show.
I don't know. Whenever I watch something and I like it, I automatically feel way more inclined to watch something else, and I don't know what I'm going to go into next. Now that we've had this conversation, I have that I wanted to check out, The Wilds, which you made me remember.
You still have to watch Hill House. You didn't watch Hill House.
I gotta watch the second season of that. Mom Brain wants me to watch all.
What are you in the mood for?
I wanted to
There's
watch
so much to watch.
Schitt's Creek.
So good.
I'm not in the mood. I never ever want to sit down and watch something funny. I won't.
But it's not. It's like Good Place funny. It's like heartwarming funny.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
the thing I will say about Schitt's Creek, though, is it's similar to Parks and Rec in that, at least I found it this way. The first season, like, I was like, what? People like this so much? And then after that, I like really got into it. So you have to be willing to like put in the time, I think. You don't like to watch funny things. Yes, you do.
I mean, I like funny stuff, but when I'm sitting down to watch a series, I never want to sit down and watch a funny series. I want to watch like sci-fi or action or drama or something like that. I'm never like, yeah, I want to get into a funny series. But The Good Place, man, I miss The Good Place so much. And now Ted Danson has that new show coming out.
It was well reviewed on NPR.
Was it really?
On NPR.
Oh, I gotta watch it now.
You can't recreate the magic of The Good Place. He's never going to do better than that.
Well, I mean, he has a good track. He was in Cheers, which was great. He was in The Good Place, which was great. The season of Fargo he was in was great. So he's got enough good stuff that I'll check him out. And Freddie Fro, I see you saying Ted Lasso. I've seen trailers for that, and it's sports related, right? Which automatically made me not so interested. And also, I'm not a big fan of the guy who's the main character. It's that SNL guy. I forget his name. I think that's Ted Lasso. No, I haven't seen that yet, Wolford Chaser. That's also on my list to watch.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, Freddie Fro says, I have absolutely no interest in sports, and it was incredible. Well, then I'll take that recommendation. Wolford Chaser says, amazing story is the revival of the 80s Spielberg series. That was on my list. I just never, I feel like I didn't hear any buzz for it after it came out. So much stuff to watch, and then there's so much stuff to play. I don't know. We need
and read. I just finished reading Catherine House. If you get a chance, Kate, it's a quick read. It's very creepy and eerie, but a good read.
What was it called?
Catherine House.
Put it on my list.
What are you doing? Are you hitchhiking?
Well, the street in front of my house is busy. I gotta get away. Nessie really has to go to the bathroom.
Well,
I have to leave my.
We're ending here. It's all right. No, Dre Gamer, I want to do that too. Dre Gamer says what we do in the shadows.
Oh, I watched a few episodes of that, and I thought it was silly, but I didn't find it very super funny.
Season 3 of Disenchantment is next week, Roth. Oh, there's so much stuff. Did you just get run over, Nintendo? What just happened? Oh, Nintendo?
I had to put you on mute, and because there's no.
She's breaking up. Nintendo, you're breaking up. We're letting you go.
We're letting you go.
She's gone. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching and listening, and hang out with some friends and family virtually, safely, whatever you're doing. Play some games, rest, relax. You deserve it. Tune in next week to find out what happened to Nintendo. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
EJ is